What a breath
She
of
was
fresh air she is, huh?
wonderful.
Who did you automatically think, oh, I'd love to have them see this interview?
Who did I think? Joanne Laura.
Of course.
And
Well,
now, good transition, because we
yes.
have with us for our Autism Family Portraits a woman who is actually on the board of the Joanne Laura Foundation and was very close to Joanne, a wonderful autism mom. Let's welcome Julie Wedeen to the show.
Wedeen. We say Julie Wedeen, don't we?
Wedeen. Sorry, Julie.
Hi, it's so nice to
Hi.
see you.
I,
So nice to
Boy,
see
was
you.
pastiche incredible. And I had seen the show on Sunday, so I was sitting there at first going, "Where do I know her from?" And then when it was revealed, I'm like, "That oh, she was incredible." And of course, I thought about Joanne.
yeah.
And
I was like, oh, Joanne would have been on the phone with the CEO the minute it was
yes.
over.
And the fact that it was Rita's like custard ice cream, I thought, "Oh, that just sounds so good. Why don't we have that here?"
We
Right. Maybe
do.
we'll get
We
one.
actually do. There is one in Santa Clarita. I looked it up.
Oh,
And I think there's one even closer. There is, because I'm going to go to one. I'm going to
yeah.
go to one, and I'm currently, because of diabetes, I can't eat anything. But I'm going to buy somebody else some Rita's Italian ice and custard.
You can buy
Oh,
me some, Shannon. I'll take it.
I
that
will. I'm
sounds
thinking about buying it
wonderful.
for strangers too, Nancy, because I just want
Okay.
to. I want to support. But Julie, I cannot believe we've had you on in little ways before, but never like a full interview before. What's
No,
wrong with us?
no, no. I mean, it's incredible that you even want to have me on.
Oh,
I'm very
Oh, well,
honored.
we're very excited to have you here, Julie. You've got a great background. You were senior vice president at Wells Fargo. You've been on the board
Mhm.
of various autism and therapy programs for autism. As I mentioned, you're with the Joanne Laura Foundation, which was Autism Works Now. You were the treasurer there. You were also at Autism Movement Therapy and an equestrian uh, program as well, right?
Special, yeah, CERT, special equestrian riding therapy.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, and you are the mother of a 25-year-old
Yes.
son who
Yes.
is on the spectrum, Tyler.
Yes.
Tell us about Tyler.
So Tyler, 25 now, it's hard to believe, was born prematurely, and he spent about 3 months in the NICU, and he was about a year and a half, 18 months when I went for a well checkup with the neurologist actually. And she said, well, he certainly won't be playing in the Olympics.
Mm,
So not great bedside manner, but we did
yeah,
get to the Special Olympics opening ceremony here in LA a few years ago.
good for you.
And then he got the regional center support for the physical disabilities. He has both cerebral palsy and autism.
Okay,
So he went to preschool, kindergarten, um, both of those in an OH, other health impairment class, um, and was not really diagnosed with autism until he was probably about 8. So
really.
he
So
was,
that was a late diagnosis. Do
it
you feel
was,
like he could have been diagnosed much younger?
yes, yes. I think part of that probably was my fault. When I would fill out those questionnaires, I would say, of course he looks at me.
Right.
He has pretty good speech. Um, but then and I was so focused on the physical, he didn't walk until he was 8. Um, after a major surgery and really awesome PT. So once he was still in a walker when I signed him up for like everything for we were the first soccer special needs soccer team at our Balboa Park. Then he was horseback riding at age 5, and then we were the first Cub Scout troop for special needs in the valley. So I was always focused on the physical.
Mhm.
But then I noticed, he's not really making any friends. I was making great lifelong friends, fortunately, because you need the community. Um, and took him to another neurologist and explained that, I was concerned that he wasn't really engaged with kids his own age. And she said, well, the good news is he'll be an adult one day. So here we are, and he is an adult, and he's engaging more with people, but not so much his peers. So,
And yet he's one of the most amazing people.
yeah,
I don't know that I've ever said this to you, but so often what we would do on holidays, our dear friend Joanne, friends, all of us were friends with Joanne. Joanne liked to have the holiday at her house.
she did.
Whether it was Easter or Thanksgiving, she liked to have a holiday at her house. I don't really say this much on the show, but I'm somebody who, I know everybody will go, what? But I find it very hard to be in groups of people because I don't know what to say. I have social anxiety and I'm a little introverted and I feel weird. I feel like everybody's in on a secret that I'm not in on. And it expects me to be this really outgoing, and I can be if I already know you.
Mm-hmm.
But even if I already know you, if there's a group of people, I find it hard. My favorite thing at Joanne's parties was to sit down and talk with Tyler because
Oh,
Tyler accepted me for who and where I was. And I didn't have to work so hard to be something. Tyler and I would just sit and have a conversation. So Tyler was always I would always gravitate to where Tyler was, and I would enjoy that interaction with him. And I haven't seen him throughout all of COVID, but the last time I saw him was at an event at the Ed Asner Family Center
yeah,
where there was just this amazing moment. And I think you and I were in the back talking,
yeah,
and you were like, hold on a second, because he had gone up and said, I'm going to do the next number. I'm going to sing
karaoke.
karaoke,
Yeah,
and it was amazing. It was amazing. He was amazing. He's an amazing person.
thank
He
you.
deserves to have all the friends.
Yeah.
He's a great
Julie, tell us,
conversationalist.
yeah,
Yeah.
tell us what Tyler is doing now and
Okay.
what he's up to.
So when COVID hit in March of whatever year that was, who knows, 2 years
2020.
ago.
Yeah.
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 I brought him home. He had been living in a group home,
Hmm.
and that was a really, really hard decision for me to put him in a group home.
Right.
But, Joanne encouraged me, and I think it was probably one of the best things because he did need to grow and become more independent and not so dependent on me. And so it worked out really well. But I think it also has worked out that he's home. Um, he's shredding paper. That's what he loves to do. He
Hmm.
also likes to listen to music. So he's a
Uh-huh.
big music. He doesn't have any talents musically, but he likes to listen to it. Um, but actually, his talent is his repertoire is like from rap to Frank Sinatra. I mean, he comes up with songs that because he's in a day program that meets for 2 hours a day via Zoom. I have him doing a divergent fitness class, and he also does some other exercise class. So he's got PT. I put him back into PT because he's kind of wobbly because we're not active. We're not going anywhere.
Right.
So
This has been a really challenging time for parents with COVID, right? That have had, because so many people that Shannon and I know, so many moms have had to pull their kids out of their residential programs. That
right.
must have been incredibly challenging for you.
It was because I was working full time, but I was able to work from home. So between meetings, I'd get him set up for his Zoom call, and then so it worked out. But now I retired a month ago, and
Good for you.
now I have more time to spend with him. he's a real foodie, like his mom, I guess, and he loves to go out to eat. So, during the when COVID wasn't at high surges, we go out to eat. Um, we've done a couple of little trips. We spent the night at Disneyland last week, and so he's one thing that I'm very, very fortunate in. He's very flexible. He loves to travel and try new things, and he doesn't have to be on a schedule, and he's not rigid in any way.
And he's charming too. But you mentioned you were working, and I think that's one of the things we have to talk about is that not only, did you have a diagnosis of the CP, but you also had the diagnosis of autism, and you were working full
Yes.
time. So when you talk about, we were the first Cub Scout and we were the first this, you were doing all of that while working full time, Julie. And I think there's a lot of people who are watching right now who feel some measure of overwhelmed. You had to have been overwhelmed. How did you work through it?
I really think friends and making the friends in that community. I looked forward to going to the soccer field and seeing the moms that I'm still friends with. That really, just having the community, having supportive people that did understand what I'm going through, because a lot of parents that, without any interaction with kids with autism don't understand.
Right.
So I think that was really important.
You didn't at all feel like, oh, well, they're all just dealing with autism or they're all just dealing with CP and I'm the one that's dealing with both. There was no, you didn't feel left out of the community because you had both?
No, I guess I was lucky that way. I never really found a CP community. It was always really just autism. In fact, that was really hard because when he was in middle school, the buzz was you want our kids fully included. They all need to be fully included, including Joanne. She was all, he's got to be fully included. But then after her interactions with Tyler, et cetera, she's the one that recommended the help group. So he went into a school specifically for autism. What I think might have been, I don't know, not a mistake, but one of the drawbacks in that is they had no experience with the physical disability. So they never challenged him, especially when he got to the voc ed age, when they can go to the help group or any school until they're 22. So between 18 and 22, he was supposed to be being prepared for some sort of vocation. And that didn't happen other than they sat him in front of a shredder and let him shred.
And so now he wants to tear paper. Is this any
Yeah.
great mystery, right?
Right.
Right. Amazing. Have you thought about
Julie?
setting up your own shredding business, Julie?
Yeah.
I actually have. The problem is I'm paying people to provide me shredding rather than them paying him. I have friends. I actually had a friend in Pennsylvania send us shredding. I'm like, anybody, please, because it got to the point where he was shredding anything he found, he would shred. So I had to, take away photos.
Well, I'm going to keep that in mind because I've got a stack of paper that I need shredding.
Yeah.
Julie, what are your hopes for Tyler for the future? Do you?
I just want him to, he continues to grow and amaze me. I want that to continue. And I think he can hear me. He has really super sonic hearing. I think in the right group home, he would really thrive. So that's something, in the future.
Let's hope the world is opening back up and that
Yeah.
will be a possibility for him.
There's one in particular that I really like that we'll see, if it happens. But he I he seems to be extremely happy. Well, maybe not extremely, but happy, and I want that to continue. Um, as long as he continues to grow, mature, that's real, and be happy. He's gonna have his experiences, and that's really what I hope for him. When he was probably 3, I set up a college fund because my expectation when he was born was he would get a degree and have a career. So I'm not sure, other than maybe shredding, um, or I could see him scooping ice cream at a Rita's.
I can see that too. I think,
Yeah,
unfortunately Joanne was taken away from us too early, but I think
yeah,
that, Joanne was headed in the ice cream direction, and I think
I know.
she would have put him to work. Um,
Yeah,
but if we could just take 1 minute to talk about the fact that you said something, you said that it was so hard for you to have him placed. And that Joanne was one of the people who was really pushing you in that direction. And that had it not been for COVID, that, it sounded like you were saying that there were some good things about that. There are a lot of people out there, Julie, right now who it's unthinkable,
yeah,
unthinkable. But I know that Joanne really was pushing you because she
yeah,
felt that there were benefits for both of you.
right.
Maybe if you could talk a little bit for parents about, while he was there, what were the benefits and maybe what were the hardest parts of it.
Okay. The I think the benefits, he was in 2 different group homes. One was actually it's supported by the help group.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those kids were much higher functioning than Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler's on the high level of low functioning, is what Joanne explained to me. So all the kids have chores. He couldn't push a vacuum cleaner or empty a dryer and fold clothes. So he wasn't successful in that environment. He moved into another group home that was independently run, just, and that one wasn't focused on autism so much on just um, um, cognitively disabled people. And so that one, I don't think he thrived as much. I think something I think it depends on what each family wants for their child and the correct placement, just like school. But the benefits were that he really became much more independent.
Hmm. And for you, I'm sure in a way it was very difficult to let go, but also very freeing for you, I would imagine.
It, it didn't seem like it was, but I'm sure it was. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
let's be honest, I mean, I've been around you enough to know that like Tyler is the center point of your world. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that Nancy and I belong to that club too. And so even though he was living someplace else, he was still very much a part of your life. You were still very much his mom. You were still very active in his life,
I was.
and
Yeah,
he was active in your life. I
right.
think a lot of times we think when your child goes to live someplace else that you are no longer the parent. It
And
just
that's not
isn't
true.
the case. Yeah.
No, not at all.
And whenever I was at an event, you had picked Tyler up, and Tyler was there with you at the event for the
Right.
holidays event. You
Yeah.
were spending time with him. You were still going to restaurants with him.
Right.
um
Yeah.
so you just
Yeah.
weren't seeing him at night and first thing in the morning and while you were at work, but he was still very much a part of your life.
Right. And he learned to do more things on his own. Um, and And I'm going to do it again as soon as the place that I'm hoping opens up.
But it's got
Well,
to be the
great.
right place, I
Yes,
think is what I'm hearing you say.
Our
exactly.
wish for you is that that happens and you find that
Thank
place
you.
Yes.
Thank
for
you
both
so
you
much.
and Tyler.
And Julie, you got to know, you were like, why would we want to hear from you? You've been an inspiration to many of us.
Thank you.
So you are much beloved in this community by the two of us and many others. And you're the hardest working mom. And I'm glad that you finally got to retire from your job.
Yeah.
But at some point, I think we need to have you put together a sort of financial rules or something for moms of kids on the spectrum, because I think you know things that I don't know and things that other people would like to know.
Maybe that's something I can work on now that I'm
Yeah,
retired.
that would be great,
Yeah.
Julie.
Let us know what you know, because you know things. You're amazing. Please
Thank
give
you.
Tyler our love and give him a hug. I didn't realize he was home. He could have been on with you.
Yeah, he kind of wanted to. I bribed him.
He could have been
We would
on. We
have
would
had
have
him.
loved it. We would have
Yeah, we would have
it.
loved to have
He
had
would
him.
ask everybody their age, what year they were born, and if they were older than
And you know
that's
what?
what he perseverates on.
That's
I'm all
okay.
in on that. I think that's why Tyler and I get along so well at parties, because I know those questions are coming. I know the answers to them. I don't have to
Right.
research them. And I know that we're going to have a great conversation. So it would have been okay. Please give him our love, okay?
I will for sure.
Thanks for
And I hope
joining
I
us
get to see
today.
you both soon in person.
Yes.
I know.
I'm breaking out of my cocoon next week.
Awesome.
I have been one of the carefulest people, haven't gone anywhere, and in a week I'm calling it.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
going to be masked,
Shannon,
but I'm going to
I'm
be out and about.
just a couple of miles away from you, so
All right. Well, put me on your calendar. We're going to get
okay.
together.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you,
Love
Julie.
you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Love you
Bye-bye.
both.
Love
Bye.
you too.